starting the season on the oval. We head ourselves to a road course for the first time, and we head to the Spider's Web, known as Barber. This is round number 2 of the 2015 16th Street Racing League on IndyCar.com, on RaceSpotTV, and on iRacing Live, as we welcome you to Verizon Countdown to Green. Qualifying is just underway. Drivers will have about 25 minutes left of that session before they start the second round of the championship. 45-minute race, 45 lap race even here today. And Will Vincent along with Aaron Likens, Paul Jenkins once again. Paul, I'll come to you first this week. Last season we saw that the championship was won by consistency on the road courses, and in fact 2 years ago it is what arguably cost Tim Holgate a shot of winning the championship.
Well, and absolutely, road courses like this are really what's the make or break for all of these guys, especially with the shortened season we have this year. So every round counts, every course counts, every point counts, and with a place like this, you know, we're watching qualifying now, this is going to be extremely important because passing here comes at a premium. It is not an easy course to make passes on.
And Aaron, this track is tough. It is arguably the toughest road course that we go to all season long. So in some ways, getting it out of the way early will be a relief to some of these fans.
Yeah, much like for golf, Augusta National will show every hole in your game. This track will show every hole in your driving ability. If you have trouble braking in elevation, this track will exploit it. Have trouble with switchbacks? This track will show it. Have trouble with a quick chicane after a blind entry? Well, this track's got that too. This track has a little bit of everything, and as Paul alluded to, passing here, very difficult, and what I think we're going to see tonight, strategy. Maybe some people are going to start with a little bit lighter fuel load to try to maybe make some spots up there, but if you do more fuel, well, it's very easy to get a 10, 15 car train here, and sometimes the only way to make a pass is to pit early and get some clean track, but with this short track, finding clean track is going to be a very difficult task tonight.
We have got a couple of people who are likely going to make for an interesting battle as far as the road course races go. People like Alex Simpson are here today, Aaron. We've got Alex, of course, has been very good. He's a driver in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. People like Xavier De Carvalho in the number 72 car. We expect him to be strong. Also, Will Power is the celebrity real racing driver of the day. He is currently P number 3 in qualifying in that number 12 Verizon car.
And for all those drivers that, well, take Will Power, you know, he's not here just to run laps. A racer, it doesn't matter what you're running. A racer, a true racer is going to want to win everything they get in at every point in time. And right now, Will Power is sitting P3, so he still on track, can improve, but right now P3 for him. Alex Simpson currently on provisional pole, but one thing about qualifying, do note that they do split it up with half the cars for the first 15 minutes. Final 15 minutes will be a second group of drivers, so drivers like Joshua Chin have not taken to the racetrack yet.
Yep, so they can see 21 minutes left in the qualifying session. We'll get a look then at some of the times. They are going to be on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see so far about 14 drivers have set themselves qualifying time. Rules for road course racing: you can do as many laps as you want in the course of your 15-minute allotted slot. However, if you go off the racing surface, Aaron, your entire lap will be invalidated.
That's very true. You have to keep all, well, you can drop 2 tires off, but if the center line of the car goes into the grass, the lap is nullified. So that's something you really have to risk reward. How hard do you push it? And it's in the section, that switchback that I alluded to, the blind left-right, which is corners 7, 7A, 7B into 8. Very difficult to get right. So if you clip that curb, a lot of drivers try to go over those curbs, which depend on your car setup. Some of these cars aren't going to like the curbing, but if you grab a little bit too much curb, it can negate the lap.
Well, Simpson is still on provisional pole position. There you can see him in the Apex Racing UK car, having a look on board of him down into turn 1. His last lap, a 106.768, only Paul 6/100ths of a second ahead of Tim Holgate, though. It's very close between these top 2 drivers.
And still a lot of time left in qualifying, but Alex Simpson definitely showing what kind of speed we can expect on this course. And Tim Holgate not very far behind, but not on the course presently. Will is just now taking back to the track after a couple of minutes and making some adjustments. Watched him in practice earlier today, and he has the speed for Alex, so keep a real close eye on him for the next couple of minutes. So we may see a battle for the pole yet.
And second place, well, you can see Tim Holgate. You can see Tim Holgate riding on board of him now. There is a look from the rear of his car, and his last lap, well, was an out lap pull. So now it's a case for Tim Holgate to just get those nerves down. He's realistically got 4 minutes left to set himself a lap time. And if he doesn't, well, he's got 15 minutes worth of reflection about what could have been.
Yeah, realistically, this is his money run coming up right now. We need to. The time is running short for Tim to improve his position here, and if he doesn't, 106.828 gets him up to second, so an excellent lap there. Well, he wasn't second, but 827 was his fastest, I believe. So pretty consistent. So we're taking one more shot at it. Might have enough time for one more.
Yep, down in P at number 5, you've got yourself a number 28 car. That is of Joe Branch, as he is, well, a much improved driver recently, actually, Aaron, on the road courses this year in comparison to years previous. So it'll be interesting to see what Branch can actually do in this race here today. His consistency's always been good as well, and if he can get himself a top 5 in qualifying overall, that will actually be really good for him.
Yeah, Branch has been a driver that really has been an oval specialist, but past about season and a half or so has really taken to the road course, put a lot of time into it, and it is showing. He was a driver that you'd expect to be mid-pack, but this season, top 5s on the road course could make him a contender for the overall championship when we get down to it, Indy.
Yep, so there we can see Joe Branch is actually just going to complete a lap. Let's have a look behind. We've got Bradley Walters. He is on track as well, just heading himself on the exit of the chicane. So the gap right now between Alex Simpson and Tim Holgate, just over a 1/10.5 of a second, as the Apex Racing UK car, Simpson starting to flex his muscles a little bit. Down into 1 and 2 he comes once again. As well, we're right on board then with Alex Simpson. And Paul, talk us through the middle section of this racetrack, because it is so difficult.
Yeah, this is an extremely high-speed portion of the section. This is coming through the hairpin here, and we're going to get into the corkscrew. Corkscrew is very difficult to you're braking, you're trying to straighten it out as much as possible, and you watch here. Let's see how he does it. And a very nice move there. Going over that curb can really upset the car, and you can really find yourself spinning through that and losing a lot of time. Up next, of course, the high-speed S's, and then over towards the bridge.
Excellent.
And he's going to go ahead and take. He's going to go ahead and take this one pretty much full speed. He's going to lay off a little bit of the throttle here, and then some high speed little right here, turning while braking. Another very tricky section here. You could very easily lose the back end into the slow right-hander into the left, and then here we go, and let's see what kind of time he has.
Yep, so that will be a lap completed for Alex Simpson, heading towards the line. What would it be for him? Well, he did himself that last time by a 106.776, no faster than what we've seen from him previously. Holgate is on a run, and it looks like his is done. So it looks as though that neither of those drivers will improve at all. Back on board now with power as he heads himself down into the first of these very fast left-right sections, holding the curb nicely on corner exit. Now in towards the second, and you've got to be so careful on the exit of these because the car wants to drift out, and he runs a little bit wide. That's going to potentially cost himself the chance to go for pole. Power slowing it down now for the final corner. Left-hander heading himself towards the line. What can he do as he guns it towards the stripe? Well, his best is a 187.6, a 115.0 there. Outlap for him. This is his final opportunity now. We'll keep an eye out on his times as well. Joe Branch still scored in P number 5 as well. Randy Crosno in P6. We know he can be a dab hand on these road courses, Aaron.
Yeah, Randy Crosno. Well, when it comes to Randy Crosno in the 16th Street League, I would say I don't know if there is any driver that has had worse luck over the past 3 seasons in Krosno. It doesn't really matter where issues are in the track. If he's up front, he's going to find it. If he's in the back, he's going to find it. Krosno is just hoping to string some good races together. He is a championship contender, only if luck can get on his side.
Indeed so. So he's now heading himself onto a lap. As well, we've got ourselves the next set of drivers getting ready to come out then. So session A is going to be score complete. Checkered flag is out now for those drivers. Give you an update on Power. He has, I believe, just about almost completed a run. And let's have a look where he is as he heads himself now down the hill. So he's actually not yet completed. Yes, he has. He's completed that lap. He did make it to the stripe in time. One more lap to go for him. Alex Simpson, I believe, is on a lap as well. So actually, these guys have one more shot, but the other drivers are now coming out. This is going to be a very congested track in the next 5 minutes. The drivers come in and drivers go out there, Paul.
Right, it looks like Will just started a lap as he ran out of time here, so I don't think this is going to be very impressive for him. Alex, on the other hand, may have a run for his last lap here, but no, he's taking it into the pits now, so he's done. But yeah, you know, this transition period, you did say it can be very tricky with cars coming on and off the track, and got to be very careful. It might even some of these guys might even just sandbag and wait a few minutes for things to clear out.
Yep, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside then as the second group of drivers get ready to hit the marks in qualifying. This is RaceSpotTV on IndyCar.com. We'll be back in just 1 moment's time.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it in at 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Verizon Countdown to Green here on IndyCar.com, RaceSpotTV, as second group of drivers are heading themselves now out onto track for their qualifying runs. So we've got ourselves another 15 to 20 drivers. The track's actually a little bit busier for this second group, and the one driver we really need to pay attention to is this guy. It is actually not this guy, that's Austin Espartee. The Trouble 7 car. I was talking about the guy who's actually on pit road. That is the number 93 car of Joshua Chin. And of course, He's a good driver on the road courses. We expect him to be strong here today. But also, we then got former World Championship Grand Prix Series driver PJ Sturgis, Paul. He is likely to be very, very strong. He's already up into P3 in qualifying.
Yeah, strong showing immediately coming out of the gate here. 107.250 puts him in third place. Still quite a bit off of Holgate and Alex Simpson's time, but a lot of time left to go in the session here. Another Brendan Traino and Matt Powaleski, fourth and fifth respectively, knocking power down to sixth. Chin, we'll have to wait and see if he can do any better here. We haven't seen him out there since he turned that lap.
Well, there you can see the top 20 times on the left-hand side of your screen. We're on board with Sturgis in the INX Racing car. Sector 3 getting very loose, having to collect that car up, and that's pretty much going to be his qualifying lap done there. Matt Pelski there in the Rockstar number 75 broken aero car down in towards the back end of this racetrack. Very tight left-hand hairpin for him now, down in towards this chicane. Just listen to the engine note through this corner. Using all of the curve there as he works himself now on the exit of that downhill chicane. That's 7A and 7B there. But Brandon Traino is the dark horse, in my opinion, in today's race in that number 15 Steak and Shake car, because he has the opportunity to take points away from drivers who would otherwise be very strong here. And of course, Traino just turned around there. That's down in turn number 9. But actually, there is a possibility that if Traino can get a win here, he becomes a serious championship contender, Aaron.
Yeah, Traino, arguably more of a dominant oval driver, but along with a lot of the former guard of the ovals have taken to the road courses, and right now setting P4 provisionally, still about 8.5 minutes to potentially get up there. He's only about 13 thousandths of a second from Sturgis. So Traino, if he can get up into the P3 and maybe even make a run at Holgate for second, this Traino last week seemed a little bit hesitant in his interview after Phoenix on just how much speed he may have here, but I think he was holding something in the cards because he's showing excellent speed so far.
Well then, let's ride on board with PJ Sturgis as he tries again. Oh, he's messed up again. That's PJ Sturgis once again gone. We're going to actually turn our attention then to Traino on the back end of this racetrack. Can he hold that second chicane together? Just a little bit off throttle coming down into that corner. It looks as though he gets out of it nicely there in that number 15 car. Does catch a white line though as he comes down into the penultimate corner, and Paul, that back end slide will cost him about a half a tenth.
And it in addition to that, it also heats up those rear tires, so the car becomes more and more cantankerous as you go along here, the more you slide the car around. So really, I mean, that's much more of a factor in the race, obviously, than the qualifying, but it will serve to slow him down significantly in the last lap, 107.267. I don't think that's really what Brandon Traino has to show. I think he's going to be able to do a lot better than that.
Yep, so we can see right now you've got yourself Joshua Chin coming out of pit roads in the King of Chin's machine. Pit exit here is actually very complicated. You merge right into the center apex of turn number 2, so you have got to pay attention to that way. It does look as though that Chin actually, though, will get himself a clear track behind him and also a clear track ahead. So good placement there for Josh, and that's one of these things in open qualifying that you've always got to pay attention to, Aaron.
Yes, and that's something also when we get to the race, when do you pit, how you get clear track. But for Chin right now, clear track is going to be at a premium. He actually has about 3 cars about 2 seconds in front of him. They're all doing a good speed, so Chin shouldn't have a problem with that. But some road courses you actually might want to catch a driver in the right spot to get a little bit of a tow, but drafting here with the dirty air is the last thing in the world you want.
Top 5 then. Alex Simpson has completed his qualifying session, leads away 106.663. Holgate has also, he's in second place. Matt Pawelski, he's in third, he's on track. He's 3 tenths behind though. Josh Chin, he has to improve, he's in fourth, he's almost half a second behind Simpson. And then Sturgis is almost 6 tenths behind. Your top 8 drivers separated right now by 9 tenths of a second. We're riding ourselves on board then with the Banshee Autosport car, and this is the last thing he needs as the car just goes off ahead of him. But that's completely ruined the lap there, Paul, for Joshua Chin, and that's what we mean. Sometimes it works out for you, other times it just doesn't.
Well, and that's the thing about, you know, qualifying, open qualifying on these tracks is, you know, you do have other cars on the track you have to contend with, and it's a very real possibility you might be on a flyer and run into a car that's too slow or might have a problem and have to get off of it, and you know, it just adds another element of randomness to this qualifying session.
Yep, he will head himself then up towards the final couple of corners. Palski is coming out of pit road, as is PJ Sturgis. It's very busy on pit road right now. To go back then to Joshua Chin, he looks like a man possessed all of a sudden. Oh, he is completely off the racetrack. That's going to cost him 2 laps, and now he's only got one more chance to improve. He's down in P number 5 right now. Let's turn our attention over to Tim Doll, the number 11 Hoyt wine machine, because he didn't have the speed he wanted at Phoenix in the Snake Pit racing car, Paul, and again, does look as though he's a little bit off pace today.
Yeah, this is very uncharacteristic of Tim Doyle to see him struggling here, especially at a road course like this, and I think it's probably just as frustrating to him to see these times not really stacking up. But, you know, qualifying only tells one side of the story, and, you know, if he can get himself a solid race car, and looks like he's going to go ahead and abort this run, but if he can get himself a solid race car for the race, there's a lot of time, and, you know, hopefully he can make his way up through, you know, through some attrition. Like I say, passing is extremely difficult here, but with good race strategy, you can certainly make a dent here.
Right, so now it's a turn of Pelski to try and do a lap without being compromised. He gets the back end, stepping out just a little bit on the run down into turn number 5. On board with him, Aaron, and well, he realistically has one more attempt after this.
Yeah, about 3.5 minutes to go, so you're getting now down to the go, no-go zone. If you're not on a good lap, you should abort, get back to the pits, and go for one more run, but he obviously is either on an outlap or he is on a flyer. The way he's really moving, it looks like he is on a flyer. His last lap of 13, yes, so this is a flyer. And he did get through turn 5 beautifully. Here comes the first of the left-right combos. Very difficult to get through here. Get the car planted up the hill. Now this is probably one of the more annoying corners in all of racing, because you can do it 1,000 times and you still feel like you can get a little bit as he gets a little bit loose. That right there, you always go through that corner thinking you can get a little bit more out of the car. Across the line, it's going to be a 106.977, so he'll improve by 600. No change in position though, still P3.
Indeed, as you can see, Nigel Marneef is coming out of pit road in just one moment's time, and well, Joshua Chin, he's here and he's trying to do another fast lap. We go on board with him now through the first of the little S's. Down, short run to the second of the S's. Oh, there's a car spun on track ahead of him. That's completely ruined it for him. So he again will have to bring that car onto pit road. I believe that was an outlap.
That was his outlap.
So he's lucky, very lucky, but that will just cause you, Paul, to just think, okay, what next? What else can happen to me in this qualifying session?
This really hasn't been Josh's qualifying session. Every time he seems to get a good pace going and a good rhythm, something happens in front of him and he has to break that rhythm. Even on an outlap, even though the time isn't important, getting the feel for the car and getting the rhythm of the track is essential to your flying lap. And something like that can have an effect all the way down into this qualifying lap. Watching him go through the hairpin now.
This is the first time, Will, that he got through the hairpin cleanly. The hairpin has been his car has not been handling well through there, and he's spent a lot of time in the pits. I think he may have been making some adjustments to get that car settled in turn 5.
Well, he's got himself through 5 and he loses a back end out of 7. That is going to potentially cost him now. If he were to stop the car, he would have the chance to get back in for one more lap, but it's almost do or die now for Chin. He has been ragged in this qualifying. It's been fun to watch, but not fun for him in the race car. 1 minute left on the play clock for qualifying. Joshua Chin is going to do a lap then in a total time of 1 minute. 7 point is slower than his fastest of the day. So that's going to be even more disappointing for him. After all of that, nothing has worked for him in qualifying at all. But Brandon Trano just moving up past as well into P number 4. and he's heading himself now down towards the start-finish line. What can Brandon Traino do as he is on what will be his last lap of qualifying, Paul?
Yeah, and it looks like Joshua Chin was really struggling through the slow portions of the track, really having a hard time getting the power down out of the corners. This track traditionally a very high-speed track, but you do have the hairpin you have to contend with. You have the S's, and the exit to that is something you have to contend with. And that final right-hander goes off camber at the end of it, and you can really easily get the back end screwed up on that thing. So, watching Traino now, he's on his run. Looks like he's clean through the S's.
Yep, as he comes down the exit of the chicane, 7A, checkered flag is out for qualifying. Whatever lap these guys are on, this is their last one. So Brandon Traino will head himself down into 9 and 10, and let's see what he can do then. We'll go back on board with him. No real traffic ahead of him that's going to upset him into 11 as he comes onto pit road. So,
yeah, he got all four wheels off the track 3 corners ago, so that negated the lap time. So he was on a good one too. That may have been good for third, maybe even second, but carried a little bit too much speed. And that's the thing, when you know the checkered flag's out and it's your last lap, it's really checkers or wreckers. You really push it, especially when you're already fourth. You have the luxury of really pushing it, and sometimes you can push it a little too far.
Gary Volkenhagen did just that as well. Eric Davis bringing his car on towards pit road. Let's then run yourself through your starting grid for this round number 2 of this year's 16th Street Racing League. Alex Simpson, Apex Racing UK, qualifying time of 1 minute 6.663. He has pole position. Tim Holgate for Snake Pick Racing will be in 2nd place. And then 3rd place, you've got Broken Arrow with Matt Palsky, and then Brandon Traino in P number 4. 3 different teams represented in your front 2 starting rows. Onyx Racing's PJ Sturgis is in P number 5. Then Joshua Chin for Banshee Autosport is in P number 6. P7, well, that belongs to the 069 car of Nigel Barnett. Then it's the Team Penske, the 2014 Verizon IndyCar Series champion, Will Power, on the outside of the 4th row of the grid. Miguel de Jong there in P number 5, Mad Cape Racing Team. Then Richard Holiday on the outside of the 5th row, Austin Esparti, and Xavier de Carvalho, he is on the outside of row number 6. Row 7, Tim Doyle for Snake Pit Racing, then Jeffrey Kaiser, row 8, Joe Branch, and then Randy Krosno. Rest of qualifying coming up on your screen as we speak, and well, we know that this is going to be a race of frustration here today, Paul, because these drivers are going to get frustrated if they can't find their way through the traffic at the start of this event. They've got to remember though, it's a long race, 45 laps here.
Yeah, it definitely is a very long race, and consistency pays off on this track. You just have to be patient and consistent. Make your moves smart. Make your moves in the pits if you can. Try and come up with a strategy that works for you. You're committed to a 2-stop race here, so you're not going to be able to stretch it out. So again, just consistency and patience.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes Verizon Countdown to Green here from Barber Motorsports Park. We'll be back with race coverage in just 1 moment's time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV. Cars are on the pace lap here at Barber Motorsports Park, getting themselves ready to go racing. And this is round number 2 of the 16th Street Racing League live on IndyCar.com. Cars, as you can see, just heading themselves down to the hairpin. You can see good old Spider there on the exit of turn number 5. The Spider's Web, as we can zoom in then on Alex Simpson, who will be leading today's field. Very quickly before we go to green, Aaron, you noted it isn't just Willpower, who of course is famous and running in today's field.
Well, we do have 3 former quarter midget alums running, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all out of New England. Very strong quarter midget racers back in their day, so neat to see that they are going from just cars that turn left into really becoming solid road racers.
So the field now going to get ready to line up 2 by 2 behind the iRacing.com first safety car, which will come on towards pit road this time by. Plenty of onboards for you to experience here today. You've got yourself, not that, that is not Eric Davis. There we are, there's Alex Simpson in the Apex Racing UK car. We've got ourselves the Foyt Wines on board here today with Tim Doyle in the number 11 machine. The King of Chins on board, that is going to be in the 93 machine there of Joshua Chin. Of course, we've also got one with your 2014 IndyCar Championship. That will be the Verizon on board of Will Power. So we are ready for racing here on RaceSpotTV once again. There you can see the front of your field lined up perfectly, 2 by 2. Flag stand will get the green flag waving. We are underway for round number 2 of the 16th Street Racing League as cars storm themselves down.
Off. Oh, he's back on. What a save. That could have taken out half the field. An amazing save there by Pavelski.
Yeah, we'll get ourselves a replay of that in a moment's time. Everyone does find a way of keeping going as they head themselves. And Pavelski actually has only lost himself 2 positions. As you can see, he's running side by side right now with Brandon Traynor as they head themselves down through turn number 5 for the first time. They're trying to get themselves all sorted out as they work themselves now down into what has to be single file for the chicane. Got a car off at the rear of the field as well. That is Bradley Walters in the 056 car. So we had ourselves a very near miss down in towards turn number 1. Get ourselves a replay of that. But Pavelski, crazily there, Aaron, he is still in P number 4.
What an amazing save. He got a good start, got up to 2nd, just got a little bit of the grass on driver's right on the outside of 1. And had he spun, he would have clipped Holgate. So Holgate, I don't know if he knows just how near of a miss he had, but he needs to thank Pavelski at the end of this race for having great car control on that slide.
Yeah, there you can
and
see.
Will, looks like Will Power is under a lot of pressure from Nigel Marneef and Michael DeJong. Marneef just went off to the side here, but Power is under attack early in this race.
Yeah, we're having a look on board with Power in that number 12 car as he heads himself then down towards turn number 5. Gap between himself and Nigel Marneef is about 4/10 of a second right now. But out front, Simpson with the early advantage there over Tim Holgate. The gap between himself and Holgate is 5/10 of a second as they work themselves down through 7. Once again, lap 2 of 45. Did everyone make it through lap number 1? Well, the answer is 2 people didn't start the race. They are Jim LaClaw in the number 9 Snake Pit Racing car and Jackson Lee, who was the son, actually, of commentator for the Indy Light Series, Kevin Lee. Aaron.
And another quarter midget alum, so very well represented here today. But traditionally, lap 1 here has been really disastrous for a lot of drivers. I believe last season we actually had an aborted start due to a spin coming to the green.
Yeah, so we're going to actually ride ourselves on board. Oh, look at how close to the wall that was. Brandon Traynor versus Matt Pavelski as they come down in towards turn number 1. And that was another close moment. The second in 3 laps full for Matt Pavelski there, almost ending in absolute tears.
Yeah, Pavelski was trying to protect his position from Traynor there. Stewards might take a look at that one. He did kind of run him towards the inside wall, and Traynor very hesitant driving there. But Pavelski could have gotten himself in a lot of trouble there, and rewarding himself for that maneuver, here comes Josh Chin putting extreme pressure on Traynor.
Yeah, there you can see just how close it was from our aerial coverage there, brought to you by And1 Design as well. Traynor, he found a way to just look to the inside. He wasn't able to complete the move, though. Mighty close battling through your field in the top half of it. Daniel Pat, Eric Davis battling it out with Brian Karzeski right now. These two drivers running side by side. You can't really do it. That's the issue through sector number 2 here. Sector 1, you've got your big opportunity down into turn number 5 as Chad Simpson, by the looks of it, Chad Simpson has had himself an issue in the Mad Cape Racing Team car. Also, Brian Simpson in the number 2 car has found himself a little bit of bother as well, as he looks as though he will have to bring that car on towards pit road, Aaron.
Yeah, it looks actually a very bizarre incident for Brian Simpson. Might have just got too much curb and broke something in the right front suspension, because that car just speared hard right into the wall. So I think a mechanical failure for Brian Simpson there. That's one of the dangers. If you hit the curbs wrong, it can hook the car, and for Simpson, race over.
Yeah, as well, we can see there we had ourselves some nice little battles going on, and as an adage to that as well. But Brian Simpson has got his car on pit road. Paul Jennings also down and out at the start of this event. Your top 3, it is so far going to be Simpson from Holgate from Sturgis. Then you got Pelski behind. Then you got Treno behind. Chin, then Power, Marneef, De Jong, and Espati rounds out your top 10. Got an interesting scrap going on. This is P number 11 and 12, Xavier de Carvalho and Richard Holiday. And this is for P number 11 and 12, as we say. And, well, Paul, this is, again, what we'll see all day long. 2 or 3 drivers running in very close proximity, and then that's where the frustration kicks in. You can just see your competition starting to move away from you.
Yeah, and we may have just seen that actually with Holiday. He was making good headway towards Carvalho there, but just got a little bit off on that final corner and caught a little bit of grass. Just couldn't get on the gas fast enough, and a large gap develops there. Brendan Trost, of course, putting pressure on Tim Doyle in much the same way. Up in the hairpin here, and some close racing all the way along. But it looks like really once you get towards the 4th, 5th, and 6th places, these guys really can't get away from each other.
No, they can't. And we're having a look now with PJ Sturgis once again. As you can see, he's running in that 3rd place, and that, well, since the start of this race, he has been your biggest mover really, up a couple of spots. But he is just trying to find himself now a bit of a rhythm. The back end of the car stepping out then on the exit of the final corner. And we need to talk as well about the marbles at this racetrack. It is going to get very dirty.
Trouble straight away. He had just made a great pass on Will Power, and from sheer elation of passing Will Power to spinning off the final corner, got on the gas a little bit too much. Nigel Marneef, the front wing is gone. I don't know if there's suspension damage, but he's having to wait for all these cars to pass by. This is like being at a stop sign while the other cars have a clear right-of-way. Marneef finally able to go. That was just heart-wrenching for him, having to wait. Oh, and he had just got around Will Power.
Yeah, we're getting ourselves another look at that one. The back end of the car just slipping out on the exit of the final corner. Marneef now down at the very rear of your field. You just saw the pass there as well on our replay. So, let's have a look. He said he's on pit road by the looks of it. It looks as though his day is done for the time being. Mikel de Jong right now putting pressure on Power in look for P number 7 and 8. And this is the Mad Cape Racing Team car of Mikel de Jong. Exit final corner. Car ahead of them just getting back end stepping out a little bit there. And that's actually a lap down car just moving out of the way. I believe that actually might be Michael Peters. Indeed it is Michael Peters. Already down a lap at the start of this event, and traffic will be a big factor here today, Paul.
Yeah, already starting to see with Michael Peters well off the pace here, but as this race does wear on, again, traffic, you have to be very, very careful to pick your spots here, and especially if you're under pressure like Will is now. You see a guy ahead of you, you want to dispatch him very quickly, but impatience here is going to cost you heavily on this track.
Well, we've been riding ourselves on board there with Mikel de Jong, but let's go back to the battle out front, because you've got Tim Holgate, who's actually going faster at this stage of the race compared to Alex Simpson. The gap is still only 0.6 of a second. This is what we were talking about a moment ago, Aaron. This track is going to get very dirty offline very soon. It will punish those that go offline and reward those that can have consistent laps. And we know the tyres degrade very quickly at this racetrack as well. For those of you who, by the way, Holiday just spun his car in the 03 car But for those of you who are a long-time IndyCar viewer, no reds or blacks here, just one compound of tyres, but they do seem to be wearing away quicker than what some people thought.
Yes, and that tire wear is going to really play havoc when they get to lap traffic. Lap traffic can be about a second in front, but it can take the air off the wing. And not only that, lap traffic, once we get the marbles really built up on the outside of this racetrack, the lap traffic really can't just decide to go well off groove and let the leaders by, because they themselves could be in trouble. So, as Paul said, picking your spots, trying to maybe slow up one corner to increase the odds that you come across the traffic on a straightaway. Much easier to pass them on the straightaway instead of the corkscrew. But so far, an amazing three-car battle up front. And I alluded to at the start, fuel strategy. Yes, it is a two-stopper, but if you ran a little bit extra fuel, you might be able to stretch one stint or maybe go the other way, because if you get into one of these car trains, Brandon Traino is off in the final corner.
Yeah, so there you can see Traino. He's going to lose 2 positions down in towards turn 1. So Traino, we'll get ourselves another look at that one. Had been having himself a good race up until that point, battling hard with Husky, but we'll get ourselves another look on board with him. And it just seems to be that drivers are pushing off wide in that final corner, Aaron.
It actually started the corner before. Well, he got on the power just a little too much, and the rear kicked out. And he is lucky to still be in this race, because he very nearly tapped that inside wall. So very lucky Traino is still in this race. That could have been just absolutely disastrous. Instead of just losing 3 spots, that could have been race over.
Randy Crossno's horrible luck continues as the back end of that car is going to step out on him as well. I think potentially the same place. Is it? No, it'll be the next corner there. Back end of the car slamming into the wall, just like Nigel Warneef. Randy Crossno is out of the event. So there you can see Crossno. There you can see Sturgis, as we are now on lap number 9 of 45 here. As well, it's calmed down a little bit. Traino, though, is falling down into P number 8, I said, on the racetrack there. And, well, Paul, he now has a lot of work to do, and he'll have to go off sequence if he wants to get any of these places back.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a terrible day for him. And, we're looking at, we're about halfway through the run on these tires now. It's a relatively warm day. Track temperature right around 101 degrees. We're seeing the rubber build up on the tires, or on the track rather, and the marble's starting to develop. And these guys are really starting to heat up this front tires. This high-speed course is brutal on these tires, and this is where patience is going to start coming in. You can't push the car as hard as you want to at this point, or you're just going to get slower and slower. It's rather counterintuitive.
Yeah, and you can see just a moment ago as Gary Borkenhagen's had a spin in the 099 car. So track conditions really are difficult here today. But we just saw there that Trainer was able to get within a tenth of a second through turn number 5 on Mikel de Jong, but then he just didn't have the acceleration. Looks like that car is running more wing, and because of that, Paul, he just simply cannot close up into one of the braking zones. We'll go back on board with him, but I think he's going to struggle to find a way past drivers here today.
Well, and that's the thing, you got to make some decisions when you're figuring out how you're going to handle this track. More downforce, great for the turns, but when you get on these long straights and these fast sweepers, you just don't have the legs to catch the guy in front. Getting to him is one thing. You've got to be able to make the pass and complete it and stay ahead, though. Yeah,
although that time by de Jong got very wide on the exit of turn number 5, and Trainer wasn't there close enough to be able to seal the deal into 7. We'll get the top 8 on the bottom of your screen. You can see Simpson still leading the way. He's got that gap up just about 1 second, though, over Holgate. And Aaron, Holgate and Simpson, they seem to be trading lap times, tit for tat, as there's more traffic. That's the second time Peters has actually been lapped in this event. So race control might well be having a word for him to increase his minimum speed if he's not careful, because he's running actually 11 seconds off pace and completely missed the apex to turn number 2.
And he just about took Sturgis out of this event, so Peter's car definitely not handling the way he would like, and heads up move by Sturgis to avoid any issue with them. But going back to the front too, you are right. Holgate will gain a couple tenths and lose a couple tenths, and maybe Holgate just can't get close to him, potentially Dirty Air. Then again, these two drivers both absolutely on the professional level, and they could just be mirroring each other's lap times, and this race could come down to whoever can get in and off pit road. And this pit entry, Will, you can gain a lot of time by risking. It's narrow, but you can risk a really fast entry. But last season, we saw a couple drivers get caught out and hit the pit wall on entry.
Yeah, we've got side-by-side between Dean Mole and Eric Davis. We've got a ride on board then with the driver of Dean Mole. You can see we got himself Eric Davis on the outside. Davis will have the position. This is P number 15 and 16 on track, as it does look as though these guys are really struggling for grip right now. Mole in the iRacing Today Motorsports car down in that 16th position. Davis up into P number 15. But these guys are already 40 seconds behind your race leader. So we talk about lap traffic. We're talking about potentially half the field getting lapped here today. And that will mean that pit stop timing will be absolutely critical over the course of the next 5 or so laps. There you can see Holgate. We go back on board with him in the battle with Alex Simpson for the race lead. The Snake Pit Racing car is in second place. The gap's back down to 8 tenths of a second as Simpson's going to work himself past a little bit of traffic in one moment's time. That is going to be the driver of Chad Simpson going down a lap.
Here's Holgate. Here's
Oh,
Holgate.
look out. Here we go.
Well, the reason for this is all started up because of the fact that number 42 car has been so slow on the last couple of corners. So now Simpson can go past, and Holgate is right there behind him, 1/10 of a second as they come down in towards turn number 1. This, all of a sudden, has, well, to quote good old JR, business has just picked up, Aaron.
Yes, it has, and the thing is, you do not have many opportunities here, so use a slipstream. Will he pop out to the inside? He's looking, but no, he's going to stay in line, but the back end slips out a little bit for Simpson. Holgate to the inside. We are side by side, Will.
Yeah, as they go side by side, they're down towards turn number 7. Who will be the last late breakers? I think Simpson will just keep it together. He will indeed, and that one was a bullet dodge for Alex Simpson as they ride themselves down the hill, but Paul, that one could have been so different. We need to get ourselves another look at that one.
Yeah, and Tim Holgate made a conscious decision there. He sent the message to Alex, hey, I'm here. Hey, I've got you. I'm just stalking you. I think Tim Holgate is really trying to go to Alex into making a mistake here.
And we know that mistakes can be costly. And men would say, well, why didn't you just go for the pass? You can force your opponent into actually making a mistake. A, they could end up bidding their car into the wall. Or B, they go off track properly, like what we saw a moment ago with Brandon Trano, then actually you could lose 5 or 6 seconds, and that in itself will completely change the complexion of this race. Austin Espartee having a bit of a tail slide there down in the number 777 car. He's at the rear end of your top 10. Having a look, no one has actually come in for a scheduled stop just yet, and we are 1/3 distance right now, and Holgate has really closed up now to the rear of Simpson. He knows that he's there, and Espartee, by the looks of it, has had himself another incident. Espartee will be out of this event, and side by side between Truce and Holiday, that is down in towards turn number 1. Holiday will be the beneficiary factor of that one for the time being. Of course, we saw Holiday going off track earlier on and having himself a bit of a spin. Holiday trying to recover now, Paul.
Yeah, after that early off, he's definitely starting to make some inroads and start catching back up here. Long way to go, a lot of work to do, but no hope lost yet. Also, from race control here, Michael Peters unable to maintain the race pace and has pulled it in and finished his day. So we were talking about him a little bit earlier.
Holgate's in the pits.
As is PJ Sturgis, so your first 2 takers of the day on towards pit road. Then we can see we look on board from the rear of Tim Holgate. You've also got yourself PJ Sturgis at the conclusion of lap number 15. So fuel and tyres, that is pretty much what you would do if you just wanted to go and put this race into thirds. 8-second stop out and away for Holgate. PJ Sturgis exactly the same, 8 seconds on the gun. So these 2 drivers come out into a little bit of traffic though. Let's have a look at this one, because Sturgis makes contact with Xavier de Carvalho, and that's on the exit of turn number 2. They're going to be side by side up until turn number 5. Sturgis, they hold on there, but Sturgis, that could have almost been disastrous for him.
Well, it may still be.
Absolutely.
We got to take a look and see what kind of damage Sturgis may have incurred from that. It looks like so far he's no harm, no foul, but see going on into the race if his pace keeps up.
And more importantly, for Tim Holgate, he's got clear traffic ahead of him. Much clear traffic ahead of him. We've got more people on pit road. We saw a couple coming in there. We'll update in a moment. Alex Simpson, though, is doing another lap completely. Brandon Trost has done a pit stop, 7.6 seconds. Joe Branch has done a pit stop in 8.4 seconds. So guys are coming in. Some of them want to eke it out as much as they possibly can. We do not expect any one-stoppers. Matt Polewski then coming on towards pit road now. Here you can see, we'll have a look at the pit stop time for him. And it will be around 8.5 seconds, 8.3 out of the way he will come. So let's have a look then. We're going to turn our 360 camera around.
Alex Simpson has spun.
And
Yes, Alex Simpson
wow.
did a half spin. He kept it going, and a great evasion by Joe Branch and Jack Turner, but Alex Simpson was really pushing it, knowing he had to put some distance between him and Holgate, and Simpson just got a little bit too much of that curb. That's how he got the pole, but that time the car jumped on him, and he spun.
Well, we'll get ourselves another look at that one then from Alex Simpson. You can see down into turn number 7, the back end just slides out. Now, he just got himself down to a complete stop, was able to keep going, but you can see 2 drivers got past him there. Of course, they were drivers laps down, I believe. But the interesting thing on that one is that will cost him about 5 seconds. He's in the pits now. We'll keep an eye out to see where Tim Holgate is. I think he might lose more than just losing out to Tim Holgate. We get the pit stop timer out for him now. Holgate, well, he's already gone past. PJ Sturgis, will he go past as well? 8.2 second stop then for Alex Simpson. We're looking for Sturgis. He's gone past. And Xavier Carvalho is going to be right there behind him. That has been incredibly costly for Alex Simpson. P1 down into P number 3, Paul.
This is a disaster for Alex, a complete disaster for Alex after running so strongly. But I do think that that might have been a product of the pressure that was put on him earlier in the race by Tim. You know, he was on old tires and he had been pushing very, very hard to stay in front of Tim Holgate. And I think, you know, maybe it just gave up on him. He pushed just a little too hard, went just 1 lap too long. Yeah, you can see more pit stops are taking place as we speak. Joshua Chim is currently your leader in the number 93 car. He goes on to do another lap. He did a 109.058 that last time by. He moves himself down to the inside of the number 31 machine. That is a lap down car. But a 109.0 last time by for him. That is 2 seconds slower than what the driver of Tim Holgate did. And that one could be interesting, Aaron, if Chin is trying to save some fuel.
Yeah, there's no way we could be looking at a one-stopper, is there?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. If he does, he's going to be fuel saver of the year, as Will Powers on pit road.
Well, yeah, Will's been in there for a long time, 19 seconds now. He must have gotten some sort of penalty because he's been in here. He's still sitting here.
Yeah, we'll have ourselves a look then. If this time is about 30 seconds, well, actually, he's still on pit road. A 15-second stop would have been over. Did he
got the pit wall well?
He hit the pit wall and
He got the pit wall. Oh, he was avoiding a crash in the pit. So a multiple car incident in the pits as Brandon Trano also got on the power too much. So Trano, a big incident, and Will Power had to avoid it. So a double incident for 2 cars running inside the top 5.
Yep, so Power stay looks as though it's going to be over. The same for Brandon Trano as well. Working ourselves on lap number 20 now of 45. And well, Power has come out. It's a long stop. We don't know how long it's going to be. Mikel Dion is on pit road as we speak. So the Mad Cape Racing Team number 5 car has an opportunity now of getting a solid top 10. He's out and away in 7.9 seconds. Still waiting on Joshua Chin. Eric Davis comes onto it. No, Davis looks though he's spun that car. That is down on pit entry again. So that's the 3rd driver now, Aaron, we've seen with incidents on pit road here today.
Yeah, and typically we only see about 1 or 2 cars, but now pit entry. Typically when you say trouble zones on a racetrack, you're talking the turn or a wall, but this racetrack pit entry today has been costly for a lot of drivers, and when we get to Indianapolis at the end of the season, remember Brandon Trano last week put in a great effort, was a championship contender definitely, and just something as benign as entering the pits.
I've got an update on that one. It was actually Dave Jinks who was slow onto pit road, and he got run over there by Eric Davis. So attack from the rear, which is why we saw Davis then hitting the wall. His Chin is now finally into his pit box. Let's have a look at the lap count. 21 of 45. Let's have a look at how much fuel he puts in. It's going to be a total time of 7.5 seconds.
I think he's short-fueled.
Yeah, he's short-fueled there, so he was not going to be able to do it on a one-stopper. So he's going to make this stint as quick as he can. But De Jong going to be side-by-side with him, Paul, as they work themselves through turn number 2. Chin might, yeah, he will just get past.
Yeah, Chin on the newer tires definitely dominant there, as long as he can keep clear of Michael De Jong there. And this is interesting tactics here from Joshua, making the long run, the first run, and then going to short fuel here and a short fuel for the finish. So it'd be interesting to see how long he goes on this fuel.
Well, here we are then. Lap number 21 of 45 going to be scored complete. Top 8 drivers are at the bottom of your screen. Holgate from Sturgis, from Simpson, Persky, Chin, De Jong, Carvello, and Tim Doyle. Although, look at the gaps. That is getting very, very separated.
Will it
outside
definitely
of the
look
top 5.
I'm sorry. Well, it looks like definitely Will Power's starting to put some pressure on Tim Doyle. That really looks like the fight on the track at the moment. Joe Branch and Brendan Traynor right behind him, also all over each other. But it looks like whatever damage was done to Will Power, the pit crew was able to at least put that thing back together, and he's turning some respectable laps.
Yeah, his last lap was a 109.622 compared to a 108.335. Sorry, 108.535. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take you RaceSpotTV side by side for just one moment. We will be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, never miss a moment. RaceSpotTV side by side is Joe Branch side by side there with Brandon Trost. This is for P number 10 on track, and these guys, we said just before the commercial, they can smell a top 10. Great pass there by Branch to move himself past the driver of Brandon Trost there, Paul.
Yeah, very heads-up move there. Saw Trost was a little bit slow out of the hairpin and made his move. And Trost definitely saw that he was beat. Didn't really put up much of a fight. Kept things clean and safe. So heads-up driving from both of them.
Yeah, and you can see now in today's event, Branch is up 4 places. We'll get the graphic up on the left-hand side of your screen, but that will make Joe Branch one of the biggest movers inside of your top 10. You can see Carvalho and Doyle are both up 5 places also. Your biggest losers in the top 10, well, Simpson, of course, naturally down 2 places from pole position into 3rd place, although he has done some blistering laps recently. We're going to go and pay attention to him because his last lap was a 108.131 4/10 faster than PJ Sturgis in second. Simpson closing up to the rear of the Inex Racing driver. And I will say one thing here. Simpson and Sturgis have raced together before. They know each other's driving styles, Aaron. Many people will think, oh, Sturgis hasn't been in an IndyCar in years. But both Simpson and Sturgis have raced in GT competition, in open wheel competition many times before. This could well be a battle of epic proportions.
Indeed, and when you're at the skill level of both Simpson and Sturgis, it doesn't matter what you put them in. They are going to be fast right out of the box. And for Simpson, a little bit of determination now. Sturgis does have Porzak in front of him. Lap down running 16th as Sturgis is off. Can Simpson make a move to the outside? This isn't going to work.
Oh, look at
Over
that.
the curb,
And they can have contact.
Well, there we are then. Simpson will move himself back up, and Sturgis under pressure is the driver to make a mistake this time. And look, I'll talk you through the reasoning of this entire incident in a moment. Ironically, we just changed it away from the camera angle we were on with Simpson as this one developed. So we'll talk you through it again, slow it down, and explain what happened. Through the first fast part of the corner then, on board with Sturgis, he has himself, he goes a little bit wide. The dirty air of the Banchioli Sport car of John Portick just ahead of him. Going to turn that camera around, and you can show there that Simpson is just going to gain up tremendously into this corner. They try and go side by side, but Sturgis is able to keep the position, but he puts two wheels onto the grass. The car's already got those marbles building up on it, and well, from then he just loses the back end. He does actually graze into the side of Simpson, but Sturgis, there's a nice analysis for you. What happens when you go offline? You lose the grip in your race car, Paul.
Yeah, and that's just when the track starts wearing and you get those marbles. If you leave the racing line, those tires go. It's just like some drivers will describe it just like driving on ice. Those tires will just grab that rubber and it'll just roll all over the place. And it takes quite a while to get those marbles off the tires and get some fresh rubber on the track. And I say I will bet you that Alex Simpson's heart rate went up substantially when he saw Sturgis spinning in front of him.
Oh, yes, indeed. As you can see now, Holgate is leading this race, but Simpson is back up into second. And actually, it's been a slow last lap for Holgate. The gap is down to 2.6 seconds as he's had to negotiate some traffic. And this is what we said, traffic will be a factor. Traffic is a factor in this race. Turn that camera around, you can see that in his wing mirrors now, Aaron, you will be able to see Alex Simpson if you are Tim Holgate in that Aboto car.
Simpson, though, has to be a little bit patient now. This track is one where if you make one mistake, it can compound into another, as we saw with Sturgis. So Simpson, still 18 laps to go, plenty of time, no reason to force the issue and have contact with these lap cars. You do need to get around him, absolutely, as he's going to get around Borkenhagen, gives him plenty of room there. Next on the list is Dean Mull, and in front of Dean will be Brian Karzeski. And right now, Holgate now has a clear track, so Simpson has to be safe, but at the same time, he wants this race wins, and he can't let Holgate get too many laps in front of him.
Last time by 109.1 for Holgate, 108.7 for Simpson. Of course, because of the fact that Apex Racing and Broken Arrow have a working relationship, it did make it a little bit easier when Simpson was trying to work himself past Borkenhagen, Paul. It's a joy of having teammates on track, as the number 31 machine and Mole getting very loose on the exit of turn number 5. That would allow Simpson an easy pass into 7.
And, you know, we were watching before Mall had that little moment there. You know, for the lap traffic, I mean, in the first portion of the track, there's nowhere to go. I mean, quite literally, there is nowhere for Dean to go. So Alex just has to bide his time back there and just wait patiently. Because if the lap car starts to panic and goes offline, those marbles we were talking about, and he could very easily find himself becoming a factor in ways other than he intended.
Terry Mattinson in the Banchioli Sport number 18 car just having himself a bit of an issue there down on the exit of turn number 3 as he worked himself up the hill. Borkenhagen versus Mole. This has got very close now for P14-15 because Mole's tyres look as though they are shot to pieces, Aaron. We saw when he went wide in turn number 5. I think Borkenhagen's found his weak spot.
Indeed, and behind him, Matt Pavelski wants through, so you have two cars battling for position, and at the same time a lead lap car coming through, which Borkenhagen does cede the position to Pavelski. Now Pavelski will work on Dean Mull, but if Pavelski gets a little loose out of 5, we've been seeing a lot of that today, but if Borkenhagen can stay somewhat near Pavelski, he may be able to use the lead lap car sort of as a pick to get around as Pavelski another drift. If you do that too many times, you heat these tires up. They do not like that.
Yeah, Pavelski in 3rd place. I think he realizes that this is a podium for him to take now, and he wants to keep hold of it, but he's got to get past this lap traffic in order to do so. And Pavelski, well, 2.2 seconds of gap between himself and PJ Sturgios, and they are really battling it out now, as Pavelski in at that 3rd place does now finally have a clear track ahead of him. Although 4.6 seconds is the gap behind. Is that PJ Sturgis on pit road? It is PJ Sturgis on pit road, right on cue, end of lap number 30. Holgate's actually stayed out a little bit more this time, and this was the point I wanted to allude to. Because of the fact that Simpson came in a little bit later than Holgate, he will be about a second quicker on his pit stop, Paul.
Right, 6.8 looks, or I'm sorry, 8.1 for PJ Sturgios. Takes pretty close to a full fuel load here. 16 laps to go. Probably take a little bit less than full tank, and that should be it for Sturgios now. So he just needs to go ahead and run it through. Remains to be seen what Alex does, and of course, remember Josh really short fueled. So it'll be interesting to see how far Josh gets before he gets back to whoa. And it looks like Josh is losing it right off of the corkscrew. Yeah, and that was with his own teammate actually of John Porzick by the look of it. So let's get ourselves another look at that, try and figure out what happened to that driver. And this is down in towards the corkscrew, turn number 7. Back end is going to slide. Back end's going to very slide there. 1, 2, and his teammate had to drive to a complete halt in that one, Paul. A classic tank slapper for Josh there, and you get those rear ends spinning, and you just have to dump off the gas and just try to get the back end under control, and that there are cars just hounding up from behind you. Very heads up for John just to go ahead and lift off. Give Josh the speed. And Holgate's on pit road. He's out of pit road, and Brandon Troes came out just ahead of him. Holgate had to dive for it onto the inside there, Aaron, of turn number 2. He needed to push.
And for Holgate, an unfortunate pit entry. This is why you want to have a few extra laps in the bank. He actually came in with 3 or 4 other cars that had really slow entries. So for Holgate, a very slow, it's 2.8 seconds slower than his first pit stop in terms of the lap time at the line. So that could be the difference. That right there could be the difference, pitting with lap traffic. Yeah, it was a 121.8 in lap for him compared to a 120.5 for Matt Pavelski. So now if you're Simpson, what you should do is capitalize on this immediately. Just get your people to get you onto pit road a little bit earlier, because this will be your chance to go for it. The gap between Simpson and Holgate is 25.6 seconds right now. That is almost enough. They will pretty much be side by side as they come out of the pits. But here's your opportunity. You don't want to squander it here if you're Alex Simpson. And he has got quite a bit of traffic that is developing up ahead of him as he works himself down into 7 once again. You can see it. Once he comes out of this corner, you can see at least 2 cars he'll probably catch in the next lap, Paul. And I believe Alex may have taken a full load of fuel on that last stop. So consider also that Alex, once he gets into the box, will spend less time in there, which is going to be a very significant thing when we're talking about really, quite literally, a second or 2 is all that's going to separate these two when they get out of here. Well, let's have a look. He will stay out and he will do another lap. And I was just thinking, we've done a race and a half and we haven't done our Scott Goodyear Eddie Cheever look at anti-roll bars and weight jackers in this series. What's going on, Aaron? I don't know. Last race was so fast and furious that we really didn't have a moment to really breathe and get it in. So, well, take it away.
Well, of course, you won't be using a weight jacket at this racetrack, but these guys do have their roll bars, both front and rear, which they can stiffen up the front or rear of the car respectively. And it's very interesting. I've talked to a couple of drivers, and especially people like Simpson, who runs in the World Championship Series, also PJ Sturgis. They will be using those in-car tools throughout of this race, Paul, to just keep the balance of that race car going, as the tyres drop off, as the track evolves. It's fascinating. We'll just try and circle them for you on the screen. It's fascinating to see just how much they do get used these days in sim racing.
And it's more and more now as the track is maturing. You know, the track will be changing as we're driving along here. It looks like Simpson's going to try and work over Tim Doyle, of all guys. So we're really seeing now 7th place about to be lapped. So a lot of progress being made in this race, a very blistering pace here. But one other thing these guys are going to be working with, because of the changing track conditions and the tire wear, brake bias. It becomes more important now with these cars.
Well, I think Simpson made a big mistake there. He's lost about, I'd say, a good second in just those 2 turns trying to get around Tim Doyle. That would have been the time to make his pit stop. You don't want to lose time in traffic. That would have been his time to make that pit stop.
Well, I wanted to talk about that. Last time by, he did a 108.9, and the driver of Tim Holgate did a 1:7.9. So there's 1 second. The previous lap also, Holgate was faster. That bad pit stop's been erased already. Josh Ginn comes out of pit road. 7.9 second stop for him. He is out and away. We're getting down to the final couple of laps. And you're going to have to say tyres respectively. That would determine the length of your pit stop now, Aaron. So, you know, it's still going to be a 6-second stop at least. So, actually, Simpson, I think, has made a, you're right, has made a bad call here. And he stays out again.
Yeah, right now, as long as he has no traffic, it's okay. But as soon as he gets traffic, he needs to pit, unless you can have your team guys looking at the track, looking at the cars that are going to be about 20 seconds behind. Not only do you want to come in with clean track, you might want to try to be building a window that you know when you exit the pits, you're going to come out with clean racetrack. But at that moment, another 108.8 that previous lap. He has been running 108.0s, 108.1, so whatever time gained he's going to get by taking less fuel, completely negated running with lap traffic.
Yep. And comparatively, well, it was 108.9 there for Tim Holgate, but we talked about the gap being 25.8 seconds earlier on. It's now down to 24.3 seconds. That 1.5 seconds, I guarantee, will be the difference maker in this event here today. So let's have a look then with Simpson. He's got more traffic that he's going to catch at the back end of this lap. This will slow him down once again. It's the LX driver who will just move out of the way. But will Simpson come on pit road this time? Yes, he does. Let's have a look then at his pit entry. It was a 1:21 in lap, let's not forget, for the driver of Tim Holgate. We'll get the lap time as Simpson comes past the start-finish line. That's what his in-lap's going to be for him. This is a critically important moment of this, the second round of the 16th Street Racing League in towards pit road. Just getting
and Holgate.
Sorry.
Sorry, Alex Simpson has to be clean here. Holgate now making the final turn onto the front stretch, so he's going to easily go up and get by Alex Simpson. Alex Simpson still in his box, just now hitting the gas to get out. Here comes Holgate.
Holgate's already passed.
Just already passed. So he's going to be at least a couple of seconds now, 2.5 seconds. And Simpson has traffic to contend with also as he's trying to get around here, so he can't take an optimum line.
Yep. So there you can see he does get out ahead of the traffic, but 2.7 seconds is the gap between Alex Simpson and Tim Holgate right now. So we said that 2.5 seconds was going to be important. That could well be the difference maker in this event, because even now, if Holgate can catch up to the rear of Simpson, Aaron, he's going to have to use all of the life in his tyres just to be able to do so.
Well, one thing, Holgate does have a little bit older rubber on the tires, so as there is trouble right in front of Holgate, that's Terry Mattinson. So for Holgate, you know, his heart just skipped a beat there, and depending on how he reacted, that may have slowed him down just a little bit, allowing Simpson to close in just a little bit more.
Yeah, gap's 2.3 seconds. They head themselves now to complete lap number 35 of lap number 36 of 45. So 9 laps now remaining in this evening's event. Your top 10 as it stands. It's Holgate from Simpson from Pileski, from Sergius, from Chin, De Jong, Carvello, and Power. Finally, Joe Branch and Tim Doyle. Will Power, we have got a battle going on with him. He is pushing right now on the rear of Xavier de Carvello, and this is about for P number 7 on this racetrack, and well, on board with Power down into 7, Paul.
And Will Power's been putting pressure on various guys pretty much all race long, but hasn't had a heck of a lot of luck passing people. And, of course, remember he had that shunt in the pits. If it weren't for that, I think Will would be in a great position at this point in the race. Still turning respectable 109.4, so no worse for the wear with whatever off he had early in the race. But unfortunately, just kind of mired back here, but putting a lot of pressure on Carvello here. Looks like he's going to try to, oh, not quite, but really making Xavier sweat here.
Yeah, I've just noticed actually the damage from the pit stop. You can see on your screen it is a damaged rear wing for him. Not that bad, but it's just one of the end plates is now just hanging off askew. That would affect his downforce over the remainder of this event. Battle for the race lead, though, Aaron, is down to 1.5 seconds.
And Alex Simpson just ran a 107.4. 107.4 to Holgate's 107.9. Simpson is a man on a mission after a half spin and a great evasion. He has had one rocky experience to this point. 7 laps to go. Holgate really uses too much curb. He knows he's coming, and this is where, as a driver, you have to run your race. You can't look in your mirror. The second you look in your mirror, that's what happened to Sturgis earlier. He knew Simpson was coming. And if Holgate knows and thinks about that, he's going to start missing the marks. You really have to race this racetrack, not the cars around you. Once you start worrying about other people, you're going to make unforced errors, and that Simpson knows that, and he's closing, and at the rate he's closing, this may not be that much of a battle.
And compounding the problem, Holgate, of course, on older tires. Simpson's got fresher tires by the order of about 5 or 6 laps here. So, you know, Holgate's got 2 problems here. He's got to protect the tires, but he's got to protect his position. Simpson now half a second away. He is within striking distance.
So we're riding on board then with Simpson gap down to 4 tenths of a second as well. You can see that already defensive line's been taken by Holgate. A question may well be when, if not if, for Simpson. But Simpson has got to make sure that he doesn't push too hard trying to get past. As actually, we've got ourselves Will Power has been able to get himself past Xavier de Carvalho. So he moves himself now up into P number 7. There you can see both of these battles on your screen simultaneously. We're going to show you very quickly, we hope, a replay of Will Power getting past, as this was down in towards to the final corner. In fact, by that point, he is already past, so we do apologise for that one. But Alex Simpson back on board with him then, as he works himself down in towards the final corner. There will be 6 laps to go at the line. 30 air is now a factor, Aaron.
Yes, I was just about to cut in and say the dirty air is going to affect Holgate a lot more than Simpson due to the tires, and don't expect Xavier or Power just to roll over and let Holgate by. They are in a fierce battle for P7, so I can't remember a race in 16th Street on road that we had this great of a battle at the end of the race between Simpson and Holgate. This is going to be good, and the battle for P7 still raging on.
Yeah, as we can see that they've all closed up now. They're all on the same piece of real estate. They're all going to come through turn number 7 at the same time. You can see Simpson all the way to the rear of Holgate on the exit of the corner. Holgate's going to push wide, and Holgate's going to go past. That is the number 72 car, Carvalho. Carvalho will just move out of the way and let the 2 leaders go past. He knows that he couldn't get back past Will Power. Will Power is only about a second ahead of Holgate. And this is what you've got now, Aaron. You've got yourself the 2014 Series champion at 1 second ahead from being lapped. And then you've got someone battling for your race victory half a second behind. And actually, with a very good run out the final corner.
He may have popped to the inside. Is he? No, not that time. At which right now you aren't going to get many opportunities, so you have to take it. On the same point that you made, well, how often do you get to say you lap a champion? Holgate is just about 10 car lengths away from lapping Will Power, which I'm sure that damage is not helping that car at all. That's taking his car off.
Oh, Holgate's got very loose there on the exit of turn number 5. That almost allowed Simpson the opportunity, and the sliding we've talked about before will affect Tim Holgate through this corner. As you see, he pushes wide again. Power moves out of the way of both of those drivers, so it's a straight fight once again, but 1/10 of a second on board, and you can see he's looking to the outside. Can't do it just yet. You don't ever try and pass into turn number 10 though, Paul, do you?
No, I think Alex is making a statement there, and had no intentions of making the move on Tim. But again, you know, with the very few opportunities to actually make clean passes through here, really Alex needs to just put that car, fill Tim Holgate's mirrors, and just hope that he just drives in his mirrors instead of out front and just misses. You only got to miss by just an inch or two on this track, and somebody's right by you. I mean, and Alex Simpson will strike at any sense of weakness here.
Of course, the one thing that we haven't mentioned, because we don't know how many uses they have, is the use of the push to pass button. Now, chances are they've probably both been rapidly on it. If they've got any left, I would expect them to start using it with a sense of urgency. And of course, push to pass is essentially what it says. You get a finite number of uses, 10 uses of it, and the rules for it are you can use it whilst you're on the accelerator and it will stop either after 15 seconds or you actually touching the brake pedal. So you've only really got one or two places you can use it on this racetrack. Out the final corner, out of turn number 3. You can't use it really into the chicane section. Down 3 laps to go of the second round of the championship. Don't forget, the Racer post-race show will come up next here on IndyCar.com and also on iRacing Live on RaceSpotTV. So, catching is one thing, passing is another, Paul. And Holgate, he's been in this position before. He knows how to hold on. You just got to block the entire world out, just like Aaron alluded to 5 laps ago.
Yeah, Tim Holgate, all he needs to do is just drive his line, and I think he's got this one running out of time here. 3 laps remaining, and Alex is hounding Tim, but desperation's starting to come into play here. You know, how badly does Alex want to get by Tim? You got to think about points. You got to think about the long term here. Do you want to throw away a potential second place just to try and make it around Tim? A lot of things going through Alex's head here.
He's going to look to the outside once again. That's not going to work, but that's the move that cut Sturgis off. Simpson made that move. Sturgis sort of reacted to it. So,
and I think that was Alex getting on the push to pass right there at that moment, because you could definitely tell he got off a lot faster.
Yep, so there we are. There's going to be 2 laps to go. Just an update on outstanding battles we've had ourselves. Actually, Nefriag in the Pentel number 4 car has just had himself an issue there. So it looks like that his day will be done in the Snake Pit Racing car. He was battling out with Jack Turner for P number 18. That one is no longer a battle. Gap is up to 4 tenths per second again between Holgate and Simpson. You've got Eric Davis versus Tim Doyle. That's a battle for the last position in the top 10. We'll update you if anything happens in that one. We're going to stick it with your race leaders for the time being, although Holgate gets a better run then out of turn number 5. But Simpson closing up on the run down into 7. Aaron, anything can still happen here.
Anything can happen. Lap and a half to go. And for Simpson, at some point in time, he's going to have to... There's really only 2 places. If he doesn't get it done by turn 5, I really don't see a pass being made. He has 2 more opportunities. He needs to nail this, needs to get up, and he's off the track. That's not going to help.
Nope, so now there's going to be the white flag. 1 more lap to go, and the gap is up to 9 tenths per second. It will take a lap of the gods if Alex Simpson is going to find a way to winner's circle. There is Nefriag ahead on track. That is lapped traffic. As we get the white flag, there is 1 more lap to go. We're on board now with the driver of Holgate. This is a teammate, of course, let's not forget, of Tim Holgate. So he should be very nice and just let him out of the way. Indeed, he does. So that one, thankfully, we can race to the flag. But immediately, you can see that Alex Simpson has caught back up. The gap is back down to 0.4 of a second. Holgate is running on borrowed time. Those tyres are shot to pieces. 2 tenths per second. Simpson right up behind as they come down into the S's, but he gets a bad exit. That potentially could be it. It could all be over. You need momentum out of turn number 7. Simpson will get 1 more chance here as he pushes wide again on the exit of 9. Into 10 they come for the final time. It's arguably all over unless Holgate makes an error on the final 2 corners. They work themselves into turn number 11, into turn number 12 for the final time. And Tim Holgate, after leading 19 laps, he'll lead 20 at the line. He holds on. He will win the 2nd round of the 16th Street Racing League. What a victory for Holgate. Simpson in 2nd. That is one of the closest finishes we have had in the history of the series on a road course, Paul.
And you consider Alex half spinning that car, falling all the way about to 7th place, just to find himself back to the back of Tim Holgate's car. Alex Simpson had the race of his life. He just drove the wheels off that car, and you could tell he was just pushing that car for every inch he could get, and just was not enough to get around Tim.
Eric Davis versus Tim Doyle. That one has just finished. Tim Doyle was able to come out the beneficiary of that one. We did say we'd keep you updated on it. Aaron, what a race.
What a race indeed, and you alluded to at the start that it isn't necessarily going to be the fastest car that wins, it's going to be consistency. And I'd say Simpson had the fastest speed out there today, but that one half spin, he spun the tires a couple times in turn 5, and having to avoid the spinning car of Sturgis, those 3 things alone were maybe 7-8 seconds. So Holgate put together a absolutely flawless run, and that's why he is your race winner today and makes it back to back.
Indeed, so Holgate brings that Snake Pit racing car on towards pit road. Let's get a look at your final race results from this, the second round of the 2015 even 16th Street Racing League, and you can see that it was, well, and in the end, a very close victory. 0.3 of a second between Tim Holgate and Alex Simpson. Matt Pralski a further 10 seconds back, really, when all was said and done. But he gets the podium there in the Broken Arrow car. That PJ Sturgis is going to be thinking, should have been mine. Josh Chin comes home in P number 5. His strategy? Well, it was interesting. As you can see, the donuts there for Tim Holgate are going on right now. De Jong in P6, Will Power in 7th. Then Xavier De Carvello in 8th. Joe Branch in 9th. And then Tim Doyle rounds out your top 10. A look through P11 through 20. And, well, Davies in 11th, Karzeski in 12th, Trace 13th, Porzek 14th, and Borgenhagen running out your top 15. Rest of your race results, well, they are up on your screen right about now. Don't forget, the Racer post-race show with interviews from drivers and more analysis will be coming up in just 1 moment's time here on RaceSpotTV and also on IndyCar.com. You're watching the second round of the 16th Street Racing League, where Tim Holgate is a back-to-back winner in 2015. The defending champion looks as though he knows what he's doing once again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV, and welcome to the Racer post-race show here from Barber Motorsports Park, where it is back-to-back victories for Tim Holgate in what will go down in one of the most thrilling road races we have had in the history of the series. And, well, we'll have an interview of your race winner in just one moment's time. You'll see the donuts will come up on your screen as well in just a moment. But, I mean, Paul, we've been doing this for 4 years now. I don't think we've seen a road course finish that entertaining for pure racing. Yes, Sebring last year was exciting because of strategy, but this was done on the racetrack.
Yeah, this was just, I mean, edge of your seat. Just, you never knew what was going to happen. And, I mean, just towards the end of the race, that run that Alex made, trying to catch up to Tim, just desperation. Fantastic. Just fantastic racing everywhere.
Yeah, and we are joined now on the Racer post-race show by Tim Holgate. Well, Tim, back to back. Welcome back to Victory Lane. You're getting a habit of this again.
Oh, let's not jinx it, Will. But that was an epic win. That was one of the toughest road course races I've ever done. I think me and Alex both knew that it was going to be very, very tough to pass on track, so we were both thinking in terms of strategy. He went one way. I went the exact opposite. I mean, it made me feel good at the beginning to think, okay, I'm going to be able to do the undercut. And then when I see him come out with like 8 laps to go on fresh tires, and I'm already sort of babying it throughout a turn 5, whew, that was one hell of a race. I mean, great job by him. Got to thank everyone on the team for all the hard work we did this weekend on the setup. Had a lot of guys working on it. We found a lot of pace. I mean, couldn't have done it without them this week.
Well, it's been exceptionally close on track, but also we noticed that offline has been so slippery. How have you been able to adjust on a dynamic track surface, which is the first time in the series, with things like the in-car tools, like understanding the grip levels of the tires over the course of those 15, 16 lap runs, and how it's all changing?
Well, my team's actually cleaning the car out now because of the incident I had. I think it was around lap 20 or something where it got really loose and I went through the grass because I'd run it tight like that. That was one of the lines I run, but late in the run, I guess the track had rubbered up a little bit. The car got really, really loose. Took it through the grass there. I don't know if there were some marbles there or what, but yeah, it caught me off guard. Immediately had to start tweaking the roll bars to get it under control. Made a wing adjustment at the last stop because the car was set up to run behind Alex, so we had to take a little bit of wing out, make it a little more comfortable. And from there on, just bringing it home was the main thing. Didn't have any more scary moments after that.
Well, your first round was exceptional. Your second round was exceptional. What's the plans for round number 3?
Exceptional? I think I like the way you're going with that, but you know it's going to take a lot of hard work. I mean, we're going to have to come to Iowa. I know there's the other team like Brandon Trano and those guys are all going to be really strong at Iowa. They've been strong at Iowa the last couple times we've raced there, so we're going to have to really get our game about us and make sure we can compete and go for the win.
Well, yeah, Iowa Speedway, it always is a close battle at the bull ring. But before we let you go, Tim, chance to give a shout out to your Snake Pit Racing teammates and sponsors.
Yeah, definitely. Want to thank RaceSpotTV for putting these broadcasts on. Want to thank Racer Magazine for covering us. Want to thank IndyCar for also putting it up on the website. Thank the guys who run the league. Thank Abanu for keeping me comfortable during these races, and and thanks to all my teammates who were running with me this weekend.
Well, thank you very much, Tim Holgate. There, your race winner once again, as the Racer post-race show will roll on, and Mr. Aaron Likens is stood by with the guy who is about half a second away from victory. Probably needs a new pair of underwear after a couple of close calls, but Alex Simpson is with Aaron Likens.
Alex, great run today, second place, but take us through those last 8 laps. Just how determined were you to try to make a move?
Yeah, well, after the silly mistake just before the first pit stop, really, I just stretched out the middle stint. Wanted to have as fresh tyres as possible. I know how hard it is to overtake here. I'd saved all my push-to-passes up, and I tried everything. It's just so difficult to get a run anywhere here. Got my front wing alongside a couple of times, but yeah, alas, just didn't want to risk anything crazy around the outside and take us both out. But yeah, I wanted it. I wanted the win, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned the little half spin you had. In the before the second stop on the broadcast, we noted that there were a couple times that you could have pit with clean track instead of dealing with lap traffic. Did you think that having the fresh tires was better than was a bigger gain than running into lap traffic at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I caught a little bit of traffic that I think cost me about 2 seconds in all. So had I not had that, we would have exited the pits probably right next to Tim, maybe even just ahead. So yeah, that was a bit of a killer, but that's what you have to deal with really around Barber. And it was always the plan to do a 10 lap sprint at the end. I knew the tires were going to be good. I knew we could run in maybe mid sevens through pretty much most of the stint. So I was just hoping we could get a bit of drive off some of these tricky corners, maybe use the push to pass and get alongside. But yeah, Tim did a great job really. Put his car just where he needed to. I think he could see where my strengths were, and he made sure that he planted his car right in front of me, so I couldn't I couldn't use that extra grip that I've got. So really intelligent driving, and in the end he fully deserved the win. Didn't make a mistake like I did, and brings home the bacon. So congrats to him.
You had a scary moment about the latter third of the race, racing with Sturgis. How close was it from your point of view?
Oh yeah, we made contact. I got contact there. I was a bit panicked for a second there. Just I thought maybe like the wing end plate or something like that might have gone, or the shark fin or something like that might have took some damage, just enough to take a bit of aero off. And I thought, honestly, when we made contact, I thought that was pretty much my race over for a chance to get up back towards the front. But yeah, it was okay. Spoke to the spotter. He said, no, I can't really see anything, so we got away with that one. And yeah, the rest of the race was a whole lot of fun.
Well, oftentimes they say nobody remembers second, but tonight's race, second place, you put on a thrilling show for the viewers. Great race. Who would you like to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my old man. He's always there spotting. Follows the racing, he really enjoys it, and yeah, it's 2:40 over here in the morning, so for him to stay up and spot me is awesome. And also Leah Bodner, Simputers PC Systems, and everyone at Apex and Broken Arrow that sort of helped put the car together this week.
Well, that's Alex Simpson, second place. An absolutely valiant effort to try to take the win, but at the line just not enough, but nonetheless a very good showing. Second place, Alex Simpson.
Indeed. So the Racer post-race show is gonna roll on as Matt Polsky is stood by with Paul Jenkins.
And Matt, we were talking about earlier in the race, consistency. Well, Matt, you were third in practice, you were third in qualifying, you finished third, and it looked like you had a pretty much error-free race. How are you feeling about this?
I can't complain. I'm feeling pretty good about it. To come home in the same spot that you qualified in this field with this caliber of drivers is certainly a big. It feels like a win. And I mean, for the most part, it was just trying to keep the car smooth, keep it in one piece, and I hope I did pretty well at it. I know I made a few mistakes, but I mean, nothing really major that would cost me that third.
And Matt, we were talking a bit throughout the race of the changing track conditions. It's pretty warm day out there today. And did you find yourself having to make adjustments as the race went on?
Yeah, I mean, on the pit stops, I was having to make wing adjustments, or during the race, I was having to start figuring out where I should lift and how to change my throttle points. So, I mean, throughout the race, you're just trying to keep up with it because the track is just constantly changing. It's never the same from lap to lap.
And a radically different weekend coming up next week, going out to Iowa, pretty much a bull ring. You got a game plan for this?
Just try to stay in one piece.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be quite a show. So, Matt, anybody you want to thank?
I got to thank Broken Arrow, Apex, Alex Simpson, his father for helping us get the car set up. Got to thank Brandon Trano for doing a lot of the work with that as well. So, I mean, it was a real group effort, so I got all those guys to thank.
So, Matt, Mr. Consistency Pavelski, third, and looking forward to next week. And Will, back to you in the booth.
Indeed. So next, we're going to have a word with the guy who came home in P number 4. It could well have been a podium for you, PJ Sturgis, in that IronX racing car. However, decided that you'd rather, lose the car once on the racetrack. And P4, is that all you could have hoped for after that?
Well, it's kind of mixed results for me. Barber was a track I was looking forward to the most this season to do well, since it's my favorite track, but yeah, it kind of stepped on my own toes tonight and spun myself out there, so not what I was hoping for. But I mean, I've been away from this IndyCar stuff for so long now that I'm pretty much having to learn everything from scratch, and the competition level is so much higher than it was 3 years ago when I used to race this car regularly. So I mean, hats off to Tim. Him and Alex had one heck of a run tonight. Maybe had I not spun, I would have had something for him, but if not, I can't be too upset with 4th place in the second race of the season.
Yeah, I was going to allude to the fact that, of course, I remember when you used to run in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series in open wheels, and of course, the first year of that wasn't an IndyCar, and I remember back in the IndyCar Pro Series then, like many, of course, focusing at the moment on things like the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com. How difficult is it to adjust from a tin top NASCAR or a tin top GT car that we sometimes see when into these very fast winged DW12s?
Yeah, it's a harder adjustment than I thought it would be coming back to this. Everything happens so fast that you have to have your reaction time. I'm sweating buckets now, even still. I haven't been like this since the last Road DWC race I did, so it's definitely different and much trickier to set up to get that aero balance and mechanical balance right, and harder to race just because you're going so fast. So the difficulty level is definitely up there, and we're gonna have to keep at the testing here to be able to keep up with Tim and Alex in the coming races, and of course Matt. He gave me one heck of a run there at the end too, so I'm gonna have to figure something out for the next couple of rounds, and hopefully can finish up on the podium next time.
Yeah, you talk about things going very fast in IndyCar. Have you tested at Iowa yet?
Oh man, I think I'm in for a treat. I've never driven that track in an IndyCar before, so hopefully I don't look like too much of a rookie out there, but maybe if I can just go out there and finish like I did at Phoenix, you never know what kind of finish you might be able to sneak in there. So definitely looking forward to it.
Top tip, that bump on the inside of turn 1 hurts a lot more on IndyCar. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to from your INX Racing team?
Oh yeah, thanks to Phil Diaz for spotting for me like always. He made some good calls in the pit box despite my little spin there, so thanks to him. My brother Jake, I Analyze Racing, and V Racing for all their support.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. PJ Sturgios here on the Racer post-race show from round number 2 of the 16th Street Racing League. Gonna hand it back to Paul, and he stood by with the King of Chins, Mr. Joshua Chin from Banshee Autosport.
Well, Josh, kind of a frustrating race for you. It seemed just really couldn't make any capitalizations on it. I had a little incident right before the first pit stop, or right after it. I can't really recall, but kind of a up and down run for you. Go ahead and take us through it.
Yeah, we missed on the setup a lot, and it really showed. Qualifying didn't go very well. I think 6 or something like that, and that was getting all I could out of it. And we got in a race and was just kind of hanging on and surviving. Thankfully, Trano made a mistake in front of us, and we were able to move up into 5th, and we just kind of stayed there the rest of the race. The show wasn't much of a challenge, and PJ and Matt were way up the road along with Tim and Alex, so it was just kind of sitting there hanging on for 5th the whole time.
You were saying you missed on the setup. Were you having some trouble getting through the corners, getting out of the corners? What specifically was going on with the car?
We didn't have a lot of speed. The car drove pretty well, honestly. Like, there were a couple times it got a little out of hand, and part of that might have been just me pushing it really hard, trying to get more out of it than was there, but the car drove really well. So we just missed on speed. We think we might know what it is, but it's frustrating to sit there and work at it, and just don't make any progress at all.
Yeah, and for a track really where consistency counts, it's you have a couple of moments that can be really frustrating. How did you find the track conditions out there later on in the race? Were they changing substantially on you?
They were a little bit. It wasn't too bad, honestly. I think part of it was just running lighter fuel. Those last 2 stints, the car didn't really drop off with the extra rubber, but The car, I don't know, it drove reasonably well. I think if I had a little bit more speed, it might have been affected a little bit more by that, as opposed to just putting around where we were.
And next week, we're off to the washing machine known as Iowa Speedway. You got any plans for that? Any strategy going forward?
Try and go fast, turn left, hopefully win again. Not last year, but 2 years ago went really well. Barely won the race over Matt Cook. That was like the biggest win I had that whole season. I don't care about the road courses that season. That was a big win, and hopefully try and do that again. Just got to make up points. Already really far behind with that finish at Phoenix. I know I'm not going to make Mid-Ohio. Going to be out of town, so it's going to be tough to make up that ground with Mid-Ohio being my drop week.
So Josh finding definitely an uphill battle to try and make some inroads into points. Every race counts for Josh. Anybody you want to get a shout out to?
Got to give a shout out to everyone. Banshee, Autosport, Aero X Racing, helped putting together a setup this week and help with fuel and everything. Went really well. JDR Graphics, Orlando City Soccer. Might not make the playoffs, but we're in contention. Hopefully we make it. King and Chin's, my stuff, will be at SEMA. And RaceSpot for putting the races on. Thank you guys for doing this every week.
Well, appreciate the nod, Josh, and hard fought 5th place coming out of Barber and on to Iowa next week. Will, we'll send it back up to you.
Cheers. So we've got a couple more people we're going to have a chat with. First of all, we're going to have a word with the Fleet Wine Machine of Tim Doyle. Coming home P number 12. Now, Tim, you said to me last week that you were disappointed in your performance and on the ovals at Phoenix. How was your performance here today, in your opinion? P12, so you're in the top third of the field here today.
I think scoring put me at P10.
P10? It's my scoring is always messed up.
That was hard earned, so
yeah.
I was happy to come home with a P10 at a track like Barber. I'm not a very good road racer, so running better there than I did at Phoenix the week before was kind of surprising, but Tim built a really good setup for us, and was able to keep me on the road with it.
Well, we've seen a lot of people having issues today offline when they're being lapped, or people trying to get past lapped cars. Of course, the track degradation's been very high, the tyre wear's been high here today. How have you been able to adjust to all of these changing factors in what has been, a fast-paced race, only 45 laps, but so much has changed on the track over the course of that race?
Yeah, you're constantly busy. No matter what pace you're running, you either have really fast cars coming up on you, or you're in a battle with somebody and you got fast cars coming up on you. It was, there's a lot to deal with, and the track rubbering in kind of caught me off guard. It actually slowed me down because this last 2 stints, I couldn't figure out why I was so much slower. I could have ran harder and I didn't realize it. So new things for me. I never experienced that on a road course. Pretty much my first road course since the new build and everything. So it was definitely interesting.
Well, next off, we head to the Bull Ring of Iowa, and I know that's one track that you specialize in. But of course, with so many drivers on such a small track, are you worried about attrition, and are you worried about track position at the start of the race there?
Not so much track position. The last time we ran there, you have the ability to come through the field. It's just a matter of survival. There's going to be many people at different paces, and the track is different than it used to be. It's not quite as easy. The apron, the low line can catch you off guard. The car getting loose, come off the corner. So it really helps if everybody puts the laps in and knows what to do. Otherwise it could be a really bad race. So we'll see.
Well, thank you very much for having a chat with us, Tim. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to thank Arizona Sports Shirts, 4M.net, GottaRace.com, Foyt Family Wines, and Eldor Speedway.
Well, thank you very much. Tim Doyle there, coming home with a well-earned finish. Finally going to send it back to Aaron. He stood by with Brandon Trost.
Well, Brandon Trost survived the road course. Take us through your race.
Started terrible, ran terrible the whole race, but I didn't wreck, which is pretty much a first on road.
Well, I think you'd agree oval's more your forte, but what were the conditions out there today? Did you find it difficult as the race progressed to keep it online?
You know, at the very end, it was pretty bad. I had a little bit of computer issues throughout the race, but honestly, the car itself seemed pretty planted.
Well, looking ahead next week, Iowa, what's your hopes there?
Well, I hope Holgate screws up the set somehow, because he's been great the whole season so far, and I think he's going to do great there too, but I've got a pretty good set, I think.
Well, for your run tonight, anybody you want to thank for your finish and not crashing?
Yeah, my teammate Miguel, he built the set, and it was very stable, so credits to him.
Well, surviving the road course, Brandon Trust, looking forward to Iowa. I'm sure he will be contending for a top 5, if not the win.
Well, thank you very much. All the drivers we've spoken to. Just one thing we want to have a look at before we wrap things up. We're going to show you the top 10 results once again. Notice, in that top 10, we have got ourselves 8 different teams represented, Paul. We talk about depth of field in this series. That's depth of field right there for you. I think we've just lost, Paul. I asked that exact same question to Aaron.
Yes, definitely. The depth of the field. Road races, seasons past, have been a one-horse race. One car would drive off, and we would be, some races we would be talking, would second place be on the lead lap? This evening was probably, I would say, the best road race we have had. Definitely very competitive throughout the field. While in the latter third of the race, we concentrate on the battle for the lead, but the side-by-side battles throughout the field were absolutely immense. And on top of that, as you mentioned, 8 different teams represented. I'm expecting nothing less next week. I'm already anxious for next week. Well, let it be tomorrow.
Let it be tomorrow, indeed. Well, Paul, next week we go to the bullring. It is Iowa Speedway. It is one of the craziest races we are going to see all year. And it's a situation where PJ Sturgis was saying, he's not yet tested. The key advice you can give to him is really don't blink. Because things change so quickly there. And it is like they took Michigan Speedway and they shrunk it down as much as they possibly could. And then thought, you know what, let's put some Indy cars on here.
Yeah, it's a lot like thwacking a beehive and watching the bees just go nuts. If we get 36 cars on the track, or 34 cars on the track like we had today, it's going to be insane. I mean, quite literally, the green flag is going to drop, the lead car is going to cross the line, and we're going to be half a lap down already for the rear of the field. It's just going to be intense. There's going to be cars everywhere. It's going to be nuts for us. So,
yeah, and I tell you what, this is probably going to be the craziest oval race of the season, so don't miss it. That wraps up the Racer post-race show here on RaceSpotTV and on IndyCar.com. Thank you very much to everyone who's been a part of our coverage here today. From myself, Will Vincent, from Paul Jenkins, from Aaron Likens, we'll talk to you all in 1 week.